What's going on? I'll be honest, I'm kind of upset with you guys. I can never be like mad at you, but I can be upset at you. Why did nobody tell me that yesterday was trash? Like, my mouth was not even close to syncing up with my audio in any way, shape, or form. You guys just powered through it. You guys didn't even care. Although that is endearing, at the same time, why didn't you call me out on it? Hopefully it's fixed today. So like the problem is yesterday I did a test recording, made sure it was lined up, and then when I did the stream, I guess everything changed. The Fire Nation attacked. So we're gonna test it again today. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the problem is coming from. Hopefully it's all right today. So let's go ahead and switch over to my face, and I am now currently talking into the camera. Pause. And restarting my words. Pause. Does it look okay? Like, it might not be perfect, but is it better? Is it okay? It's very annoying the other day to watch that video back and see how bad it was. But you live and you learn. So, on today's day of Yu-Gi-Oh! Bitcoin, DXY is turning up to the upside and currently retesting a resistance area. All right. I mean, if we look at this downtrend here, it's very broken up. So you can see, like, collectively right here, there's about 3 resistances. All right. I'm not going to use each individual one as a single line. You can see back here, kind of hit some resistance in this area, flipped it to support, and then we started using it as resistance again here. So that's what I'm kind of basing this off of, those kind of 3 touching points. So in that case, all right, DXY currently retesting its resistance. If it breaks through, we have a pretty good jump to the upside to about 105. Past 105, we should see about 107. And then past 107, we should see about 113. And then I doubt we're going to go put in a new high or anything like that. But it definitely could be. This is one gigantic A to a gigantic B to a gigantic C. Maybe one last ditch effort for the United States government to try to fix their shit. But then you can see what it's turning into, which could possibly turn into that. So who knows? Maybe that, I mean, that could coincide with the Bitcoin halvening when we see that turn into a gigantic ABC. That would be awesome. Now, I do understand that currently as we sit, all right, we are in a gigantic ABC on the macro time frame of the DXY. But the DXY, when we're looking at the 2-day chart, we're measuring this in terms of decades. So to think that we couldn't see just a slightly higher high over here, possibly higher high over here, let's see if that's correlated to anything. Let's see if I can get some more, maybe a 1-month chart here. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, this is going all the way back to 1984. Maybe we might try to retest that resistance. Who knows? But obviously, as a Bitcoiner, you would want this outcome. So short term, that means downside at price action for Bitcoin. That's what we all assume. Doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to be a dump on Bitcoin. It just means that Bitcoin's going to either be stagnant or on the decline. And then hopefully sometime around next year, maybe 2024-ish, 2024, the Bitcoin bull run hits because of the halvening. And then this turns into a bearish pattern. Everything goes awesome. Audio is behind by like half a second. So, okay, I'm going to clap. Tell me if the video comes first or the audio comes first, okay? Clear visible hands. I don't know if that picked it up. All right, give me a good answer, and I'll adjust it to make it as best as I possibly can. Kite. Pepe had 99% pump from the bottom. Elon pumped it with Pepe meme tweet. God. AZTV, you unironically were just a cartoon character. Hold on.
If you're mining skills through strategic graphics card selection, you might be wondering about the devices strapped to your arms. Just insert your graphics cards here. The more powerful of a card you play, the more bitcoins your portable rig mines.
Isn't Bitcoin crashing like any month now?
Yugi, hi.
Oh god, this asshole. Hi!
Hey Yugi, we're still friends, right?
Do you have friends?
Yeah, anyway, did you hear the good news?
What, is your liver failing?
Elon Musk said epic on Twitter and Tesla's stock went up.
Okay.
Well, you know what's really okay? I'm gonna make a Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's you, AZTV. That's you. All right, let me see if I can fix it. Oh, you said the video is a second early. All right, a second early. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into filters. I'm gonna go to render delay, and I'm gonna add 100 milliseconds to the delay. Okay. So theoretically, all right. Listen, I think 1,000 milliseconds is a second. Am I stupid? Is 100 milliseconds is a second? Making me look like a monkey with the little symbols. I highly recommend that if you guys have not watched Yugi Coin by Soul Brother number 3. It was made 5 years ago. And the entire thing is about Tesla and Bitcoin. It's hilarious. Let me see if I'm gonna play a couple of my favorite parts.
Gun is great for freestyling.
Bewitched, you run a hobby shop. Only MRAs come in here. They get mad when women sing.
Come on, young gun is great for freestyling over.
How?
Wait. Drops coming out. Yeah. I popped that boy at the hospital, I did that boy like Kitana, no,
No,
now all
don't.
that boy gonna wait for me, Say love me, say love me.
Please stop.
Fine, geez.
Still delayed. Okay, so it's still video coming early, audio coming second? Are you sure? You are 100%? Forget the sound. More concerned about seeing bones appearing in your face. It's because I'm losing the weight. What do you mean? I'm getting healthy. I had a milkshake tonight. Count to 5 and clap 2 times, and I can time for you for an accurate adjustment. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. So are you saying like add like another maybe 10 milliseconds to the delay? We'll just go up by tens. And then when you think it's perfect, let me know. Okay, what about now? Chocolate milk in my chocolate cup on a chocolate fondue fountain. Boogie it up. Okay, where's the other part? The blood transfusion. Oh, there we go. All right.
Transfusion, are we still
What do you think I am?
Now what?
Mr. Musk. Yes, electric ears, of course. What do you think I am?
Now what?
Let me think.
Well, it's been cool, guys. Hypothetically, if my sister gets a transfusion, are we still blood related? Yes. Oh. Well, I gotta cancel a wedding I wasn't involved with. I'll see you guys later.
Toys R Us is going out of business. You probably got Benadryl for real cheap.
What?
Come on, I bet that Comyard guy's there right now. He seems like a Toys R Us shopper. Especially.
That's Yugi Coin. Watch it. Worth your time. Very funny. And if you're subscribed to his Patreon, he has 3 episodes up of a new Yu-Gi-Oh dub. I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh. I played with Yu-Gi-Oh cards as a kid, but I never got into the game Yu-Gi-Oh. But I like the cartoon. So, to make it that much more funny, it's basically like the Dragon Ball Z abridged, but a little bit better because it's Soul Brother. Still delayed. Okay. All right, another 120 milliseconds. All right. Where are we going for futures, Kite? Even Binance is banned in Canada and DYDX. DYDX, technically, it's basically the gray zone, like Bybit was. Bybit technically was never legal. Well, not legal, but like I said, benefit is you can leverage your money. Unbenefit is you can't claim any capital losses. You basically just have to let that money disappear. A 1,000 milliseconds in a second. Delay the vid by like 500 Dude, that's a lot. But okay, if you think that will fix it. Okay, so now we are doing 500 milliseconds. Pause. Added to the video. Pause. But like I said, DYDX turning up to the upside. Got a nice little bottoming ABC. Got a couple of resistances to break through. On the other hand, BTC is still sitting below its last local support, its current A, and is currently turning back around. So we were kind of bumping up against it all of today / last night, and now it's starting to drop back down to the downside. And bing chilling. You're good now? Okay, thank goodness. Dude, hopefully this sticks. Hopefully it doesn't change. All right, that's the biggest thing. But Ethereum still in a bullish position in some sense. It depends on how you look at it. You definitely could kind of count this wick out maybe and then look at the like average support level over here. You can say that we're kind of still below it there. But for all intents and purposes, we're still above the A on Ethereum. But it really doesn't matter much because Ethereum is in a much worse position. So maybe that's where it's getting its leeway from. Whereas with Bitcoin really isn't in a good position in terms of shorting from like a macro scale. Ethereum, you have the force of 1,000 suns with this gigantic ABC. All right, in the way, preventing you to go to the upside. Whereas with BTC, there was no gigantic ABC structure forcing us to the downside. So I guess that's where we're getting a little bit more downside price action from. Thoughts on Gala, the coin in the project? I don't know anything about Gala. We can take a look at the chart for you, but that's about as much as I can do. From a macro scale, unless there's a chart with a little bit more price action, can't really like give any like large estimates here. I would think Binance would have the most. So I mean, looks like Bitstamp has the most price action. There's no supports to fall onto besides this level. And then from like a macro scale, it looks like we got an A to a B to a C. Now, in the meantime, smaller time frames, we do have an A to a B to a C. So technically, that is a bullish position. That if we get back above that, that could be an entry point. But the way things are heading right now, I don't necessarily believe in that. So your best bet would probably be a DCA position if we kind of get back above this level after forming the APC. Kite, BTC bounced off weekly 200 MA. I mean, the weekly, yeah. Let's go ahead and the weekly can get busted quite often, but let me go ahead and look up. Let me add my EMAs. All right, take off the blah. All right, so I mean, this is the daily 200 is about 24,000 right now. So I mean, technically we do have a cross to the upside. All right, there is that benefit, but that doesn't necessarily mean much. There's been times where daily has crossed back and forth multiple times. I mean, look at this market over here. Boom, 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 boom. And just because it looks like it's wide open right now does not necessarily mean that it will stay. All right. We go down to a 12 hour. You can see the 12 hours starting to curl. 8 hours starting to close. Which, same thing goes opposite. Just because it looks like it's about to close doesn't necessarily mean that it will. 4 hour has closed as of like yesterday. I mean, yeah, if you're looking at like a monthly, I mean, the monthly doesn't even have that much price action associated with it. Because, I mean, we just don't have that much. Go to the weekly. Take a look at that. The 1 week. I mean, to say that it has bounced off of the weekly is incorrect. All right. We might have bounced off the weekly on like a minute time frame. But come on, brother. Come on, easy. This is still a red candle, right? That's a bounce. You need time to show you that. We're just getting started. All right, we're already back below the 100. Moving on. Retest is at 25,184. So I believe we did hit 25,184. No, not even close. So, I mean, we haven't really tested the 200 weekly yet. And it's not like we haven't been under it before. We went under it over here. All right. So, like I said, if it happens, it happens. But there's absolutely no reason for me to want Bitcoin to start blasting off to the upside. There's none. All right. If you have the pressure of, I would like Bitcoin to really go boom, boom, probably means that you're not playing it right. But you know what we were bumping in the car today? All 3 Zeitgeist movies. That's what I was rolling around delivering DoorDash with. It's always good to like refresh yourself on the Zeitgeist movies and make yourself remember that it's almost hopeless. But the 3rd Zeitgeist movie definitely gave me some ideas for the communities I'm going to be building in the future. If I explain it to you, you're going to say communism. Like that's going to be your first go-to. But I just call it efficiency. So everybody's still going to have their own home. It's not like we live in one gigantic shed. But my idea is, I don't have like a direct like design for layout, but it's going to be like an all-encompassing community where you have like farming system, sewage system, all that kind of stuff, but more localized amenities. So you think about a neighborhood, like a typical American neighborhood that has 50 houses in it. It could be just one street, could be multiple streets. Every single household has, let's say, a lawnmower and a weed whacker. Okay. And they might use those once a week, once a month. Other than that, it's just a bunch of lawnmowers and weed eaters going to waste. This is just an example of like one particular thing. So for the community, there would be just 5 lawnmowers, 5 weed whackers for all 50 houses. And then you just come and use them when you want them. All right. That way, instead of having 50 lawnmowers, 50 weed whackers that are all like $100 a piece, you can get really good quality premium stuff that's going to last long, work better, and then nobody goes without. It's much cheaper for everybody as well. So like that's just one use case. And then maybe like a community kitchen where like you would have your house, you would still have a fridge where you can store snacks and stuff, but then you would have like an actual kitchen that has really good utensils and equipment to make good food that you can just go to the kitchen, use it, make your food, clean up, bring it back to your house, store it. Like, that's just some of the ideas. Because the third movie focuses more on, like, not even necessarily solutions. It's almost like the movie is almost hopeless. Trevor, if you have not seen Zeitgeist, get ready to be, I mean, it's not necessarily like earth-shattering, but it definitely is one of the best movies to showcase the predicament that we are currently in. So go watch Zeitgeist. I don't know if I still have it up here. It's spelled like this. So the Zeitgeist series started in 2007. The last one was in 2011. This is the one that I'm referring to when I'm talking about building my community. But I would say probably start with Addendum, if that's how you pronounce it. It's probably the easiest to understand. Number one talks a little bit more about like religion and stuff like that. And then it gets into the monetary system. And then it gets into some other crazy, maybe crazy stuff, depending on who you are. And then this one is talking more about like human psychology, what actually, like everything that we're doing wrong with society at the moment, and then what could potentially happen. But the problem is that you gotta want people to want it. Nobody wants it, except for, I mean, I know some people want it. Problem is like, how do you build a communist socialist, but not, all right, because communism, socialism have been proven not to work, but capitalism is still working, but is proven that it will fail at some point. So how do you build a center ground within the current society without getting messed up? So that's the predicament. So like, let's say you had enough capital to like put down a community and then fund it. How do you maintain almost like sovereign citizenship for those people? See what I'm saying? Because there's no new land. You can't just go buy your own country. So I mean, I don't know. Hopefully this is what Elon Musk is going to do on Mars, because this is the only hope at this point. How do you build that your wants are the same wants as everyone? Well, if you get a community together, it's not like everything's set stagnant. So obviously this is going to be an experiment. So obviously there's going to be set up amenities, and then people will join the community. If the majority of people say like, hey, I would like to have this stuff, and then most people do, then good. That's the thing. It's the third movie talked about how do you have an economy that isn't based off of monetary policy but resource economics. And this movie was made before the blockchain got popular, and it talks a lot about the logistics of transporting, quantifying, and equally distributing goods to where they are needed. All right, not just equally distributing goods in terms of communism, but equally distributing them as needed. And then like restructuring the society to be based off of recyclability. So I mean, you think about engineers, right? Engineers are, a good engineer is not someone that can build something that will last a lifetime. All right, a good engineer is something that will build something until the warranty fails. That's what our society is, pretty much what you can watch it on YouTube. All three movies are on YouTube for free. Once you watch them, let me know how you feel about life. Because it definitely puts a damper on your day almost. And it basically, all right, you think about, and this is the huge problem, because it's entirely conflicting with what most people associate with like almost evil. So the World Economic Forum, they had the statement, "You'll own nothing and be happy." So they're still looking at it from a economic monetary policy, "You'll own nothing and be happy," as in, we are going to own the houses, you are going to rent, but you're still going to have to go to work in order to pay for those houses and accrue debt, because debt is the only thing that produces GDP in the United States. One thing that I really like about the movie is that it really breaks down that like for every dollar that you put into a bank, the bank is able to print $9. And then if you take one of those $9 that they printed that you eventually get your hands on, put it back into the bank, they can print another $9. So when people stop depositing into the banks, no new money is coming in. That's how our economy works. So the World Economic Forum, they have this whole thing of "You'll own nothing and be happy." And it kind of makes me feel like the whole thing that we talked about last night, where conspiracy theories are put into the public as a conspiracy theory to have the human ego attached to it, demonize certain things so that they'll never want it. So let's say that that statement, "You'll own nothing and be happy," was a plant. Because honestly, if society went in the correct direction, that would be what's going to happen. And it would work out splendidly. But if you still think about it in the terms of economic, where we're coming from, monetary policy, then it sounds evil. So then you go, I would never want that. But in turn, you're also saying that you want to stick with the system that is wage slaving you currently. So I feel like that's a plant. But if you look at it from not necessarily a monetary policy lens, but rather everybody has their needs met, plain and simple, then what are you left with? Well, people can research into new sciences. They can become engineers to build machines that can automate work for us. Anything you really want. So hopefully by the time I'm 100 and almost dead, I have some sort of working concept of a community where things are automated, efficient, recyclable, and people aren't forced to do things. And the community doesn't run off of debt. So just like how you have like a library to check out books, pretty much anything you would ever need would be just the same. And the problem is that when you inject monetary policy into things like sharing utensils, in terms of, let's say that you bought a $6,000 camera. All right, one person owning a $6,000 camera where they only use it maybe one time a week. All right, that's useless. So why not share it to other people? Well, you would probably share it for a fee, $15 an hour, $20 an hour, whatever it might be. So in that case scenario, you have people that, because they're still in the monetary policy mindset, they try to do the most with that $20 an hour that they can. So they're more likely to break things. Take, for example, Turo, all right, where you can rent your car out to people. You put a GPS tracker in that car, you're going to see people that are going out of state, going 180 miles per hour, smoking weed in your car, which smoking weed in your car is not bad as long as you're that type of person. But if that was not your intention for the vehicle, you can see how the monetary policy influenced this person to take full advantage of the situation that was given to them for that period of time. But if you have free access, not necessarily free, like you would still have to put in work in order to maintain it. So like I said, if you have 5 weed whackers between 50 households, not everybody's going to be using a weed whacker every single day. So let's say that all 5 are out. All right, someone else is using them. Check back the next day. Like, you're going to be able to get it done. So that's the whole thing. Like, that's what I want. You can invest in much better products that are much more worthwhile because they're splitting the cost between everybody. And there's no hidden agenda. All right, so like with communism and socialism, there's still a hidden agenda. There's still people at the top that are siphoning everything else. So it's a struggle. How do you do that? John will hoard all 5 weed whackers. He just has one in each arm and then one between his thighs. Just walking around his yard like a little robot. I don't even know what he's doing with the other 2. Maybe one's hanging out his butt. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, Juggernaut. I'm pretty sure. Like I've explained it many times, but if you just look at like the simple facts of, we have 3 resistances blocking us from continuing to the upside. Well, you should count it as 4 now because we are back below support and currently on a smaller time frames, retesting it with no help. So we have 4 resistances to the upside in the immediate term, and practically no support until 20K. All right, then if we break through 20K, we have no support until around 16.3K. We have a little bit of support at 24K, but that's about it. I don't know if that's really gonna be of any significance. And then when you look at the 4-hour time frame, the EMA cross is to the downside. I don't really use indicators like that anymore, but hey. And I'm sure the RSI has some sort of bearish divergence. I haven't checked that in quite a while. We'll take a look at that. Also, the Zeitgeist talked a lot about the derivatives market, and it almost disgusts me to a certain extent. So, also making me like think about how I'm living my life. But like it's so like theoretically, the best odds of me being able to get the currency in order to make this the community, which hopefully will be branched out into some sort of city or society, has to come from somewhere in current society, unless you have volunteers that are willing to build a society, which is just that's a lot of manpower. So I don't know, maybe it's a necessary evil at this point in time, but I don't know, maybe that'll backfire on me. I'll feel really bad about it when I'm old. I mean, yeah, we've been having a pretty big bearish divergence for quite a while. I mean, starting from all the way back here, up, down. Go to a 12-hour time frame. 12-hour time frame starts to settle out a lot. Doesn't really look like it's as of an extreme divergence. So what's my feeling about the bullish divergence? Well, I mean, on a larger time frame, we don't quite have one yet here. All right, in order to get the bullish divergence, we would have to be putting in a higher low from here to here, and then putting in a lower low from here to here. So RSI would I mean, it's looking like it will do that for sure. Doesn't necessarily mean that we'll surpass that current high right away, but it does look like that eventually we will see a bullish divergence coming off of this trend here. That's the thing, like if you have a community where things are shared, and it's not necessarily like you're paying money in order to get it, like up front. Like of course, like that would involve, like if we were to like have a combination of the two societies, which is obviously the only thing that's going to happen in the coming years, there would have to be some sort of upkeep. So there would be some sort of like HOA to keep the kitchen and everything like that running, but not beyond its means, just for maintenance costs. Then maybe have to replace or repair stuff. But you think about like cooking your own food. The pots and the pans and the utensils, the mixers, the sous vide, stuff like that. It comes out to a lot of money. So people don't want to do that. They rather go to a restaurant, fast food, because they have everything. So if you had a community where all that stuff was shared, and you had a couple stovetops, all the utensils, it would just, I think it would be better for everybody involved. It helps save space in your house. Imagine having so much more space in your house because you don't need all that stuff. Like I said, if everybody has one of everything, unless it's being consistently used to the point where you need to own it, then what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm only in my kitchen once a day. If that. So, I don't know. When I say in the kitchen, I mean like actively making food. Thoughts on stablecoins if the dollar crashes? I don't really have much thoughts about stablecoins. The entire thing's a sham anyway, so what's stopping stablecoins from being able to compete with an already sham? So, and with what's happening with the Fed, they're tightening interest rates. They are basically constricting the money supply. So that's why I think the dollar actually increase in value over the next couple of months. Which means that it's going to devalue Bitcoin. Tell you what though, like my little society thing will be functioning off of Bitcoin. And once you start thinking in that mindset, it makes you start thinking about like what you're going to do. Because if labor is not the main source of the economy, what becomes the main source of the economy? Basically just automation and putting in effort. So instead of getting paid to work, pretty much 99% of everything is automated anyways by robots. And the other 1%, like you're getting paid to make sure that things are going good with those robots, and then also doing like research or whatever it might be. Like I said, different types of fields. I mean, we're really thinking like, 100 years from now. And I haven't even begun the second process. The first process is what is the solution to the current problem? And then what you want to do with anything that you ever do is what is the problem that will come from the solution? And try to like prepare for that before you even start incorporating the first solution, which might help you tweak the first solution. Listen, like what I don't actually like understand in my brain is how people and YouTube channels are saying the recession is coming. The recession is coming. We are in the recession. The recession is us. The recession is here. The recession isn't coming. The recession isn't going to get worse. It's already worse and progressing. I mean, just look at the SPY. Look at the US 100 over the past year. All right, the last time that we saw a downtrend that lasted this long was 2008. All right, now, granted, with the inflationary policy that we adopted because of COVID, we've had this uptrend. All right, but I think this uptrend will be coming to an end. Does that mean that I think we're going to continue crashing? No, not necessarily. Like we're already in the recession. It might turn into what 2008 was. It doesn't have enough price action on this. Damn it. Where can I get more price action? I mean, this is the NASDAQ Incorporated. This is the actual company. Well, I mean, this is what the 2008 financial crisis looked like. This is what the recession looked like. We had the drop. Inflation came in, pumped the market up, but we still came back down and moved sideways for another year, 2 years almost. And then we started moving up. So, I mean, if it's anything like that, it would be sort of similar. All right. Does the SPY go back to 2008? It does. Okay. So 2008. Look at that ABC. Was that it? That was an ABC. We put in a higher high over here. All right, SPY pretty much had a straight drop because it was more of like an actual debt market collapsing. This was more of us just being absolute idiots like always. And then now we're seeing the kickback. All right. So we've talked about how the SPY, for example, all right, we had this support level here. We had this support level here and this support level here. So if this starts turning back around, we fail to find support again around this generalized area, we're going to move down to 322. All right. The recession will get worse, but it's not like it hasn't already been bad. That's where, like, I think people are missing it. I just don't know if it's because they haven't felt the effects personally, but it's been there. All right. Ever since December 2021, all right, we've been in the recession. All right. Now we might be only halfway through it, and we might still have, this drop here, or potentially it could definitely be that we see this drop here, or we build some sort of A to B to C and then not have to go all the way down. Who knows? Okay, do you ever look at Bitcoin compared to the money supply chart? Give me the, do you have a ticker? No, typically no. Why can't the SPY just start dropping? That's my problem here. It's been holding this right shoulder for so long. We have the A to B, the C. This is the level. It just doesn't want to give up. And within this trend, we have A to B to C. I mean, I guess it's starting. I definitely think within the next 2 weeks, definitely going to start seeing the price action come to fruition. And then, I mean, this downtrend, this uptrend doesn't have a lot of support. You have a little bit of support here, but most of the support is located in this region here. And obviously this is where we would hope to collect support, because if we don't collect support there, that's when things might get a little bit rocky and we'll have a larger dump down to this level. And then if we don't find support there, I mean, we could kind of staircase down. We have a little bit of support here. I don't even know if I want to count that. And then obviously COVID crash. So you're looking for localized support around this region and then localized support around this region. What's your opinion on the BRC20 tokens? I don't have an opinion. Listen, if something hasn't crossed my desk, I'm not going to say that's not important, but it at least means that it doesn't have any major significance. Really, Bitcoin's the only one that has any significance in any of this. Yeah, I don't have any. I think Wrapped. Is that referring to Wrapped stuff as well? Because I think Wrapped Bitcoin, Wrapped Ether is kind of a blight on the crypto market. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know what it can necessarily hurt Bitcoin. Because the problem that we have is that we always need to attach value through some means that has already been set in stone through our history and what we know to be true. So with Bitcoin, we attach a value to Bitcoin with US dollars. But if you really dig into it, the US dollar is a sham anyways. So why do you keep measuring Bitcoin in that value? Well, you go, Austin, I had to pay my bills. Fair enough. But here's the thing. Bitcoin has a value already, regardless of what the dollar says it is at its current moment in time. Whether or not you are smart enough to realize that and bank on that difference. All right. To me, Bitcoin's priceless. All right. It is the definition of what a future society could have. All right. So when you attach it to all this other stuff, you start looking at it in a different light rather than what it truly is. The future. All right. Everything else is pretty much just trying to take a bite off the apple. Now, if it adds functionality and adds some other means of logistics to the blockchain that wasn't already there with Bitcoin, then it deserves that bite off the apple. But everything else doesn't deserve anything. All right. That's something like I had a hard time understanding for a long time, especially when it came to like the early days of me being invested in the crypto market. So Salt, for example. Why in the fuck would I invest in that? Did I make money off of it? Yes. But why would I invest in quantitative crypto banking? Which deflationary currencies are not, they don't compute. They don't work with quantitative banking. BRC20 is what ETH is, ERC20. Is that referring to like the new Bitcoin NFTs? Is that what that is? BRC20? Yeah, BTC NFTs. My opinion still stands. Even though it's on a coin that I particularly like, doesn't mean that I didn't like Ethereum. I think Ethereum's cool. I think it's overpriced, and I don't think they should have went proof of stake. But that being said, NFTs don't have a use for me at the moment. Like I said, I think NFTs could be used in the future for digital rights to things that matter. One of a kind work of arts, titles and loans, to cars that need to be sent across the internet, like Carvana, for example, just stuff like that. And then most importantly, tracking logistical systems to quantify resources and verifying that those resources are available. Now, in the short term, it sucks. Because typically with the bear market, you have cheaper fees on sending and receiving, so it makes doing stuff in the bear market a lot easier. Typically the bull market is where you're looking to just take profit off your already bought Bitcoin or whatever. So having to transfer that really costs you nothing once the profit's been made. I think it serves some decent, it slows down the market because like I said, let's say you have a person that's transferring, they buy $30 on Robinhood of Bitcoin. They send that Bitcoin to their wallet. All right, now it's going to cost them more in fees to do that every 3 days, 2 days, depending on how much they're putting into Bitcoin every single day, whatever it might be. So they might have to wait until they get $100 or $200. So the effects on the market is trading is going to be slower. Market movement might be slower. But I can't really predict how that would affect Bitcoin. I think you can look at it from two different directions. One, if someone has money in a wallet, they're not going to be as enticed to pull out little bits and sell it and trade it. So that might help the deflationary value of Bitcoin. Or people are holding on to Bitcoin in online wallets like Robinhood, Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini. And now because that money is more liquid, if they see a down dip in the market, they're more likely to sell it, which could negatively impact the market. You could really look at it in two directions. I don't think either one is the correct assumption to be made. I think it's going to be an equal thing of the two. So my opinion still stands as the market's probably just going to be slower. More people holding because they don't want to transfer. More people selling because they have it in online wallets and they don't want to transfer to cold storage wallets. Okay, what do you think is a good amount of Bitcoin to hold? Less than 1, more than 1, 100. So here's the problem. We have a society, a monetary policy, where the dollar is devalued, but then the people at the top are siphoning off more of the dollar than losing its value. Does that make sense? Probably not. But with Bitcoin, you almost have an oligarchy type currency. So the problem would not be in the currency, but rather the people's intent of use. So theoretically, the best answer to be that, to your question, AZ, is as much as you can get your hands on. But that's the thing. Let's say that everybody gets their hands on as much Bitcoin as possible and it's all dried up. It suddenly becomes immensely valuable. So at that point, does it encourage you to spend said money? Well, no. Probably doesn't. The reason why the US economy works the way it does is because the dollar is devaluing so fast, we're not really encouraged to hold on to it. You'd rather go put it in a stock or whatever it might be. If you just hold on to dollars, you're just losing value. I believe it was like in 1913, before the Federal Reserve was incorporated, a dollar is worth $24 equivalent. So if you were to hold on to your, let's see, a day's worth of work would have been what? $4, $5 for a high paid person. Back in that time. So I honestly don't know what to like. The answer would be as much as you can possibly hold, but the ethical answer is leave enough for the next guy. But then you're like, well, what if the next guy is some greedy guy that takes more than I did? So then it puts you in the mindset. So I don't know, man. I don't know. That's the cool thing about Bitcoin. A dollar is only divisible up to 100 units. Bitcoin is divisible by 8 decimal points. Is it 8 or 9? So, I mean, even if it becomes immensely valuable, and you have only 5 Bitcoin, you might only have to spend a couple Satoshis to buy gas or whatever. So that could last you a very long time if you're able to wait. But nobody really knows. Oh, just wait for CBDCs. That will solve inflation. No, not really. CBDCs is actually a stupid concept to me personally. All right, CBDCs is basically just really pushing it over the edge to full and complete control of an electronic-based currency, which is backed by the Federal Reserve, and they can magically hit 2 buttons on a keyboard and print more of it. But the thing is if you take that whole string of sentence and cut out CBDCs, that's already what's happening. 97% of the US dollar money supply is already digital. Only 3% of current money in the market is physical currency. So to think that CBDCs will really change anything is idiotic in a sense. The only thing that would really change is maybe, just maybe, which I don't think could happen because the banks have too much influence on the US government. It could help separate or get rid of the separation between state and monetary policy. Because right now you have the banks in the middle, which the banks are really just, playboys for the US government and the financial reserve. So the government would be able to directly look at how much money you have rather than have to forward that to the bank and then the bank has to check. But by that time, you could have already withdrawn that money into cash. And then what is the government going to do? Come and take your car? Well, what if you don't own a car? You're going to come and take your house? Well, what if you don't own a house? Oh, they're going to start garnishing your paychecks? What if you don't have a paycheck? You know what I'm saying? Go check real quick. Someone posted, I don't know, at least ASIC miner value is back to its, no, it's not. It's broken again. It updates every minute. So maybe for a minute, this was actually the profitability for a hot second. SHA-256 with the BRC20s has obviously been in the lead. But look, you still have Cadena within like the top of the charts. Still cool to see. I think you can pretty much take the last digit off of any of this. So this would be $18 a day, $17.65 a day. Wazy TV at this point, I mean, if you're worried about weed, weed's illegal. It's becoming legal everywhere. It's legal in Virginia now, California, Colorado, Oregon. Every single drug is decriminalized, which really makes no sense. Distribution is still illegal, but then it's decriminalized, so you can't get charged with it if you're found with it, unless it looks like you have enough with intent to distribute. So, I mean, hey, move to Oregon if you want to smoke some crack, I guess. By the time CBDCs are really implemented and they're really going that hardcore with the what's allowing you to buy, then I guess by that point every place will have weed legal. Just my guess. Joe, what's going on, man? But one little neat fact from the Zeitgeist, the derivatives market is worth more than the entire world's economy. So if the derivatives market collapses, we're dead. hoping Johnny's online tonight. I'm gonna make him sit through all 3 Zeitgeist movies with me, or at least like 1, and then maybe we'll watch the other one the next night. I doubt he's seen them. I think the first time I saw the first Zeitgeist was probably when I was 10, maybe 11. Okay, you beat Hogwarts Legacy yet? Nah, I haven't played it. We own it. I sold my PS5 to my sister, and she bought Hogwarts Legacy for it, but I haven't played it. Isn't Portland where the screaming lady is found? She goes, "This is the neighborhood. You're not allowed here." Rah! And just started screaming. Crypto Fox, what's going on, man? What be happening? I want to drink some Bud Lights and play Hogwarts. You talking about Binance, Crypto Fox? Sad day indeed. Thoughts on the next debt ceiling? I mean, shit, if they're not going to raise it, I don't know what happened and if they grew a brain cell. The thing is like, it's just a magical number. Like, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. I mean, if the debt ceiling stops growing, then we are actually screwed. Because the way that everything's set up now is like, theoretically, if every single dollar of US debt has been paid back, there's not a single dollar in the entire world. Well, yeah, there's not a single dollar in the entire world. Because the dollar would cease to exist. Because the only reason why there's dollars is because for every dollar made, 9 more are made on top of that. I mean, it's just another buzz title to, I don't know, rally cry for people. I don't know. Is there a ticker for like US debt? Oh, let me go back up in the chat. You gave me the ticker for, okay, so BTC, USD, and then slash M2SL. How do I open this up? Do I like over? I mean, it's just a straight freaking line. I mean, there's not much to really look at here. But I mean, this is the first time that we've actually seen it turn. Over here, it had a little bit of a slowdown. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's not proof of deflation in some sense. Like I said, the dollar can never be deflationary, but you can constrict the money supply. And this is like the first time in a while where it's kind of going on that curve. Interesting to see, nonetheless. And look at the change in the graph when COVID hit. So if COVID never hit, all right, we wouldn't have reached the level of money in circulation. Pretty much. Until April of this year. Is that right? Wait, is this lagging? Yeah, this is lagging. Okay, so we haven't even got any of the data since March. That kind of sucks. But COVID just took us off that trajectory like it was nothing. So I guess it's trying to get back in line with what it was. So yeah, it's gonna cause a little bit of ruptures. Buy physical gold bars, silvers. That's always a good thing to have. What's kind of scary though is that when the US dollar got off the gold standard, if you did not turn in all of your gold bullion, you were threatened with 10 years in federal prison. So I don't know if buying gold is the best idea, because what if they do something like that again? Who knows? Can you imagine that? Can you actually freaking imagine that? Just because I haven't lived through it, I just can't imagine it. U.S. government saying, give me your valuables or you go to prison. I'm sure it was like a gun buyback almost, and they gave you the equivalent value at the time, but they just gave you imaginary paper. That is redonkadick. AMD stock. Still doing halfway decent. This was my last DCA point, but I already have this charted out, being ready for it. Has a couple supports underneath it. AMD hasn't really done anything significant. The release of their 7800X, definitely a boost. I think we've kind of seen the golden age of AMD. I bought AMD at $7.62 way back here when I was in high school. Yeah, this is when I got into my tech class. Where? Unless they really, I don't know, dominate the market and come out with, like, if they start coming out with graphics cards that can beat NVIDIA, then we might see it continue this trend. But other than that, it's probably just going to be gradual. This is where, like, Intel was beating their ass and they couldn't come out with anything worth the salt. They were losing the graphics card market. They were losing in the CPU market. And then they started coming out with Ryzen around this time. Ryzen 1 and 2 wasn't that good, but it was better. And then they started coming out with Ryzen 3 and 3000 series, 5000 series, and then it just took off. Because at that point, Ryzen was actually worth it. was worth buying. NVIDIA is always a good pick because they're not just like a graphics card company. They also have a lot of AI stuff going on. Revolve around like the car market and other things like that. NVIDIA isn't just a graphics card company. So, I mean, they do very well all the time. I mean, if they continue doing what they're doing. There's a reason why it's double the stock price of AMD. AMD makes graphics cards and processors. NVIDIA really just makes graphics cards. 9K still on the table. I wouldn't say as much as I would have thought before, but I mean, if we get down to 15.5K and we break through it, of course, I'll be looking for the fake in terms of A to B to C. And then maybe like a slight dip below and then come back above. But if we can't get back above 15.5K, well, yeah, we're going down to 9.8K. But like I said, I think my bet at the moment would be a nice hearty retest of 19K, maybe some sort of ABC coming down, and then that would kind of be our double bottom, Adam and Eve, and then probably sideways price action, and then slow rise as the halving starts kicking in. Trying to keep my chart clean, so I gotta clean all this up. There we go. All right, let me get fish some food real quick. Turn my air conditioner off here. I wonder what kind of FUD will come if price drops that low to 9K. Man, most YouTube thumbnails and titles always float with whatever's happening currently. They're never forward thinking whatsoever. Have you heard about Jared from Subway? Mevbot. Should I know what that is? Jared from Subway. I don't think is a good name for anything. He basically trades off gas fee arbitrage. Binance going down could bring BTC to 9K. Know about that. Hoping it'll have some sort of impact on price. I mean, the market's getting real thin. If you look at the US 100, those nice fat trends back and forth, and just it's starting to look like a little Christmas tree here. I mean, it's gonna topple over sometime soon here. Most definitely. I mean, we're already like coming down pretty harshly today. We just gotta get back under that last resistance. Okie dokie. 9:52. Been streaming for an hour and 30 minutes. Play some Wordle though. Haven't played Wordle in a long time. Go do that. You ready? Audio. Snake. Alright, so we got an A. A, D. Shoot. I need to find a word to type that gets rid of some letters so I can see if I can find another letter in this. That's using two letters that we already know that aren't in the word. I doubt. I'm just going to do it. Okay, so we got rid of some letters. Are you kidding me? There's no... How dare you, Johnny? How dare you? How... That's not allowed. It's not allowed. Johnny, we're watching a movie tonight. I hope you're ready. Get some snacks. It's a surprise. One day, Johnny, I'm going to spoil something you really don't want spoiled. I have no clue what that could mean. That sounds terrifying, Joe. What do you know? What do you know that we don't? Like, is Johnny gonna go into a doctor's office for his annual checkup? You're just gonna knock out the doctor? You're gonna spoil that he has gun on his syphilades? So you got gonorrhea, syphilis, AIDS, and you tested for none of them. Negative. Right, let's go ahead and do the thing. Everybody's homework is to watch all 3 separate instances of the Zeitgeist if you haven't seen them. That way you are as equally terrified. And then we can come to a solution on stream and figure out what to do. Okie doke. I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow. Maybe the next day. Maybe I'll never see you again. There's always the potential that I die before the next live stream. So I hope when I do the thing, you really do the thing. Because that's the last time that we might be able to do the thing. That makes me sad. It also makes me happy that we're able to do the thing. Right now. Let's do it. I burped a little bit. It's my bad. I can't stop blinking. The light's too bright. Bye!